So we're going to learn about how to use the angle grinder here at MakeHaven. So here it's a corded angle grinder. They do make battery powered ones, but this thing is put under a lot of pressure and requires a lot of current going to it. So we have a corded one. There are a whole bunch of different attachments that can go on an angle grinder, so I will grab those. In general, an angle grinder is a metalworking tool, but there are a whole bunch of ways it can be used in woodworking. So just to briefly cover its metalworking applications, you can put in a cut-off wheel or cut-off disc. They make different kinds for different purposes, but in general, it's for slicing through metal. Either cutting off some angle iron or pipe or tubing or whatever the case may be. The way that you change the discs is by using a pin wrench or spanner, whatever you want to call it. So on the top, you depress the registering pins, that holds into a little detent in there, and then put that in the holes and just loosen this arbor nut. So on here, it has an adapter for various sizes of blade that you're putting in it. So here we'll leave it with this side up so that the little flange is supporting our piece. So let's see, we'll just put that back in there, and then it sits so that, there we go. So it locks right into the spot so it isn't spinning around on us. So this is a grinder wheel, so it's used for taking the corners off things, for maybe grinding metal into a certain shape. If you were welding something and you wanted to flatten that weld out, to smooth it out, then you can use this. So the way you put it on is it just drops right onto the arbor, and then the nut screws right on. And in this case, it's going to go on upside down to accommodate the fact that it's depressed down in the under the wheel. So you would put that right back on. It looks like it was used on aluminum here. You can see how the pores are sort of filled up. In general, you never want to use these on aluminum unless maybe it was made for that, because it just fills right up. Same with a grinding wheel on the bench, because it just fills it up with aluminum. It just like melts and gets smushy in there. So the cutoff wheel, same deal, would go right in, and then you would lock down on top of it. Anytime you're cutting metal, it's likely going to make a whole lot of sparks, so you want to adjust the guard to protect you. So there's a little lever on the side, so you just push that, and then you can turn this so that wherever you are, the sparks are not shooting in your face. It goes without saying that you want eye protection on when you are using this tool. So and anytime you're certainly in the wood shop. So that is when you're cutting metal. In the wood shop, we're not cutting metal, so this is just sort of for your information. So we can put these two back. So those are sort of the cutoffs. This is an abrasive wheel. So this could be used on a variety of materials, probably metal, but you might be able to use it on wood. It's just sort of like a fiber that's embedded with an abrasive. There's another cutoff wheel. So this is a flap disc, and what this is used is for sanding very aggressively. So you've got a piece of wood and you wanted to shape it, then you could put a flap disc on, and there are a few kinds of flap discs. You can get them in various grits. But it's just a lot of layers of sandpaper that have been layered up in flaps. And so it just has a whole lot of surface area, and it sort of wears down as you go, so it gets more and more sandpaper exposed. This one actually is threaded, so it just screws right on to the axle here, and you don't even need the nut on top of it. Make sure if you do take these off not to lose these, to keep them with the rest of the attachments. Some of the flap wheels or flap discs don't have that threaded part, so you would need to use these to hold it in. The last piece, well, maybe the second to last, is we'll look at this. So this is actually a concrete or cement disc, and so what it's used for is for typically a floor, to flatten it, to take out bumps, to polish it to some degree. This produces a lot of dust. You really want to make sure you're doing a good job of dust collection. This doesn't have a port, so you need to set up an attachment to make sure that your dust is being well collected. And then the last one that is maybe the most interesting for woodworking purposes is this tool. This has carbide teeth on it, and it's used for shaping wood. So let's say you had a chair and you wanted to make the curvature within the chair seat that is normal for a piece of wood. So instead of a flat piece of wood, you would start with that blank and then put the curves into it for your butt to sit on. This is very rough, so it's really the rough shaping of it to take out a large amount of wood. It's just going to throw out a huge amount of wood, and then you could use finer tools to get down to sort of a smoother finish. But this is a super cool tool. Again, it's very aggressive, so you're going to need to really hold on to the tool very firmly. So I'll show you generally how to use it in a minute. But you're going to really want to make sure you have a firm hand on the till, or else it can get away from you. So those are various tools. I'm going to put on the flap disc because that's sort of the most relevant tool, I think. So it just spins right on, and I'm just going to push down on the pin on the back so it locks. Come on. I'm just going the wrong way. There we go. And then just clamp down on it so it doesn't spin off on us. And then just going to plug it in. And with this tool, I'm just making sure it's off. It is fairly loud, so if you're using it for an extended period, you'll probably want ear protection, and depending on what you're cutting, you may want dust protection. And afterwards, you're going to be vacuuming up. So in this case, I'm going to move the guard so that it's in between my hand and the disc. And then on the side is a sliding power switch. Some have paddle switches, but this one just has a sliding switch. You push it, and it should stay in the on position until you pull it backwards. And in this case, I'm just going to lock down a piece of wood so that we can see what it looks like when you use it. But it's not terribly remarkable. So here's this piece. This is a more traditional hold down, and then this is a newer style. I'm just going to move that a little bit. So that is really on there. I'd probably adjust that so it isn't quite so tight. And then this is the more traditional one, so a bit of whack. So for this, the way you want to hold it is make sure the cord is not anywhere near your legs. You're going to trip on it or anything. The trick I'll show you in case you haven't seen it is when you have a power cord, you want to make sure it doesn't come undone, is to put a little knot in it, like so, so that if it gets pulled on, it's not unplugging the plug, it's just keeping it right in the spot. So that's important if you really don't want something to accidentally come undone on you. So again, you're just pushing this forward, and then I usually have my hand like this. The top part of this transmission can get quite hot, so be aware of that and move your hands if it does start to get hot. And then you're just moving sort of, in a smooth pattern. You don't want to dig in or put it here where it might be tempted to throw back at you. So normally moving from left to right. So even here, it removed a pretty significant amount of wood. It also threw a whole bunch of dust up, so you definitely want to turn on the air filters to clean up the air. It took a little gouge here where I sort of turned the edge in. In general, if you want these things to last, you should keep it as flat as possible. As soon as you turn an edge or a corner in, it definitely tears up the paper a lot more quickly. So when you're done, again, just vacuum up. Make sure to put all the pieces back. And that's about it for the angle grinder. So thanks for watching.